Hi, my name is Aaron Vitus, and I'm the founder of the business intelligence platform Strategy Box. And I'm here today to talk to you about a really cool technology called Marketing Attribution. It's an algorithm that allows you to see what activities drive sales. So you can answer questions like, hey, how does that social media influencer actually drive our sales? Or where's our next customer and what platforms are they hanging out, so that we can be there before our competitors are. I'm going to show you some different types of attribution models and how you can get started with it today for free. So the number one question that marketing attribution addresses is, how did marketing actually drive a sale? And the way it does that is by establishing a path to purchase. So what's the path that your customer actually took from first encountering our brand to actually buying something online or walking into a real world store? And then hopefully it tells you, well, here's the optimal combination of content, clicks, ads, influencers, whatever that makes them buy. And it can answer a lot of business questions. So things like, are we spending too much on Facebook? What other channels should we use? Who's our most profitable customer? And there are actually instances where we should spend more in order to acquire a customer because they stay with us for that much longer. Now, a lot of people are now asking, how does this work? So I'm going to explain the different types of attribution models and what's ideal and what's not for your business. So marketing attribution models are just fancy algorithms that give weight to each marketing activity that drives a customer forward. So when you think about a customer encountering your brand for the first time, they might not buy from you for a year, but they're going to be interacting with you over time. So they're going to see an ad on Facebook, they might read about you in a magazine or online, they might even see some of your ads on display, or a friend's going to talk to them about you. They might sign up for an email newsletter at some point, and then maybe on the 9th, 12th, 15th interaction, they buy something from you. And each one of those marketing interactions has weight in the relationship with the customer, but that weight isn't equal. And that's why there's different types of attribution models. So the one that you're probably most familiar with is last touch attribution. You might have seen that in Google Analytics. And the idea is, hey, the very last marketing activity that somebody did or interacted with for your brand, that gets 100% of the weight. Obviously, this has a lot of shortcomings because it favors things like Facebook or display ads or Instagram, and it doesn't give any credence to, hey, well, you know what? That person read 7 articles about my company before they actually came and bought. I need to acknowledge that that content has weight to it and has value, and it's not just the Instagram ad that they clicked on and then bought from. The opposite is first touch attribution, which gives all the weight to the very first touch somebody has. Again, this has its own problems because it doesn't acknowledge everything else that you do in order to gain a customer. Another model that's really popular, especially with products that have a really short purchase cycle, is what's known as time decay. So it says, hey, that marketing activity that occurred 2 weeks ago, that's worth less than the Instagram ad that they clicked on yesterday in order to buy. The one that Strategy Box uses and has developed and favors is what's known as algorithmic multi-touch attribution. And that says, well, here's the path of the customer. Let's take a group of customers that have the same path to purchase, and then let's give weight to every marketing interaction that they have to see, well, what actually drove a customer forward? Oh, you know what? It was that radio ad campaign that we did. Oh, yeah, that Instagram influencer campaign. It's doing okay, but actually what's better is the PR coverage that we get in magazines. And that's the power of attribution analysis and the specificity that you can get into. Now, it can do a lot for you. And it can do, like as I mentioned, it can show you how influencers are driving sales. It can also show you things like, hey, you know these 10 marketing activities you do, actually only 2 of them are really driving people forward. So you can forget about the other 8 and actually just focus all your budget and time and attention on these 2, and your results are going to be exponentially better. It can also show you where your customer is that you're not currently marketing to. So that might be a new marketing channel or a brand that your customer really likes that you don't maybe do anything with, and maybe you could co-brand something with them. The options are endless. So the next question I always get is, okay, How do I get started with this? And there's 2 recommendations that I always make, and they're both free. So number 1 is align with your team on what marketing questions you want answered, because that's going to influence what tools you use, what data you're going to go collect, what people you're going to involve in the process. And if you're really rock solid on what questions you want answered, that makes everything else so much easier. And the second thing is start tracking how ad campaigns and content drive traffic to your website. And you can do that just in Google Analytics, and I'm going to show you how. So some sample questions that we've answered for customers are, how are my marketing activities actually driving sales? What can we do next in order to drive sales? Is that go to another platform? Is that maybe spend a little bit differently so we can make the same dollars much more effective? Are we spending too much on a given platform or too little? I think more on the business side, what's really useful to know is, are there instances where it's actually worth it to spend more in order to acquire a customer? Or there's a specific type of customer that when they display a certain behavior early on, they're 80, 90% more likely to buy. So therefore, we should really focus our attention on them. All of these questions can be answered with marketing attribution and marketing attribution tools. So once you and your team are aligned around, hey, these are the questions that we want answered, the next step I would go to is, hey, start tracking how your ads and content drive visitors to your site. So for every ad and for every piece of content that you do, you can put what's known as a UTM code on each ad or content address. And what this allows Google Analytics to do is actually track a user and its interactions with your brand and your site and eventually a sale. There's a great article on how to do that. I'm going to link it in the comment section below. And if your needs are a little more specific or you have a very complex path to purchase, Strategy Box provides attribution reports on what moves a customer to buy, either in an online store or in a real world retail store. And on average, our attribution reports drive marketing ROI up 90% within weeks of delivery. If you want more free resources on how to use marketing attribution in your business, feel free to visit strategybox.com. And if you have any questions about our attribution reports, you can contact us directly as well. Please link and subscribe below, as we'll be doing more content on how to leverage your data to sell more and run more efficiently. Thanks for your time today.